nothing? What you dying for? If you put real with real, that's how I was born. Walking this bitch ready for war. I'm in riot form. I want these niggas to see me flex. That's why I am on. I shouldn't live in the crib, nigga. I should buy a farm to go through this shit so ever. Best believe that I'm top 3. Only thing is, I'm not 2 and I'm not 3. Best believe that I'm top 3. Only thing is, I'm not 2 and I'm not 3. Best believe that I'm top 3. Only thing is, I'm not 2 and I'm not 3.
They say they gonna hit that bullshit. These niggas claiming that they bullshit. These niggas better move and coach shit. Cause if they make the wrong move, it coach.
All right, next, where we at here? Any questions online? Of course, tonight we'll go over the Roe v. Wade decision. This thing is distracting me. I can hear myself out of it and all that, all right? We'll go over the Roe v. Wade decision. I'll explain it to you for anyone that might need understanding on what happened. It was a very big court decision this week, the biggest in probably 50 years, even though it is not actually a decision. If anyone has a drink, I'll take it now, all right? I'll take your questions in the room, and I'll take your questions online. Any questions online yet?
Not right now, sir.
No problem. You have an issue here online?
Yes, sir.
Any questions in the room I can answer for you? I'll hold back with the Roe v. Wade thing until we get right online, all right? You can text about the sound too as well. You need some more time?
No, I fixed that.
Okay. Type in if you can hear me, people online, all right?
The sound is fine, sir.
Sound good to go? Straight?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you have any questions online, type them in now, all right? You can get that regular chair out.
Yes, sir.
Wow. All right, where we at now? You got all the Roe v. Wade videos, right?
No, sir.
I need a second. Oh, you know what? These are precepts I need you to hold for me for tonight, all right? Let's hold 1 Timothy 5 and 6. You're also going to hold Psalms, the 80th chapter.
I saw the sign, choose adoption.
Yeah.
And
Start at Psalms 80 and 8. We'll go down to about 12. Ecclesiastes 10 and 8. And for the end of class, you're going to hold Jeremiah 30 and 12. It will take it down to 20. Jeremiah 30 and 11, somewhere around there, we'll take it down to 21, all right? And letter of Jeremiah 1 and 5. Maybe 1 and 2. 1 and 2 to 5, all right? Any questions in the room? One last check. Questions online, Asher?
Yes, sir. Let me check right now. A sister online wanted to know, when it comes to circumcision, right?
Right.
Is a priest supposed to be performing the circumcision on the boy on the 8th day, or is that something a woman would do?
Okay, and I'm assuming she's speaking about biblical time, correct? I don't need ice in that one out there. You can just put the ice in this one, all right? What? I'm assuming you're referring to the scriptures about circumcision. Circumcision was always done by someone who was trained to do it. It was a specific priest who was trained to cut the foreskin from the child's penis. If you're speaking about today, you should get it done from a doctor in the hospital. All right? Simple enough to understand, right? Don't cut your baby's foreskin off by yourself. Don't allow some man of God to cut your baby's foreskin off. You go to a doctor and cut the foreskin off. One more thing. I need the line. Can you just lower this line? He's right here. I can't see anything.
Yes, sir.
All right. Too much distracting me as I turn. Okay. This one over here as well, right? Everybody gets the point, right? You go to a doctor, you get a circumcision today. They do it in the hospital. They do it right there as soon as your son is born. Snip, snip, done, trained professional. Go home. Next question.
Sir, this one is for Ecclesiasticus 9, verses 7 through 9. If you can break that down, sir.
Whenever you're ready.
Someone can grab up, Shaw.
Ecclesiastes.
Ecclesiasticus, chapter 9.
Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha. The 9th chapter. What's the question in specific?
Just a breakdown of verses 7 through 9.
All right. I appreciate that. Where you get these fancy ice cubes from? Hardcore New York ice cubes. Go ahead.
1West Isupk.
I see. All right. Whenever you're ready, read it. To what?
Someone have it? No? Mike?
Ecclesiasticus 9 and 7. Look not round about thee in the streets of the city, neither wander thou in the solitary place thereof. Turn away thine eye from a beautiful woman, and look not upon another's beauty, for many have been deceived by the beauty of a woman.
He wants just a simple breakdown on this, correct?
Yes, sir. From 7 to 9.
This is a precept that this is the kind of thing that fathers used to teach sons, and fathers still teach sons today in the ISUPK. This is what a young man needs to learn when he leaves out of his father's house. One of the most major dangers in the world is the lust for women that you should not have in the first place. And if you're not prepared for that, you're going to need some white man to give you the right to have an abortion. You're going to march and march and march and fight to change legislation so that you can kill your baby before it's born, because the thought of having a child with this woman will, of course, be worse than a nightmare to you. This is a precept against whores, against prostitutes, against the kind of women that will ruin your life. And they are an extreme danger. An extreme danger. I mean, I really can't quantify what the kind of danger that being with a woman who you should not be with is. You're going to die over it. If she doesn't kill you, her ex-boyfriend is going to kill you. Her current 2 boyfriends are going to kill you. Or the drug addiction that she put you onto will kill you. Or the crimes that you commit to please her will kill you. Or the venereal diseases that you get from her will kill you. She is death. And this is one of those precepts to help young men avoid her. Why? For the same reason that you need Roe v. Wade and you need police and you need drug rehab centers because pleasure brings death. That's it. That's where death comes from. Death comes from things that feel good, things that you like, things that are delicious and warm and make you happy. And the acceptance and the obsession with pleasure is where death comes from. And this world teaches you to embrace pleasure, to embrace the pursuit of happiness. That's the law that they base the right to abortion on, the 14th Amendment. The right to the pursuit of happiness. And America decided that you can't stop a woman who wants to kill her child so that she can have a better life. That is the right to privacy in the 14th Amendment, and that's the right to the pursuit of happiness. And by forcing her to have a child that is in her body, you are not allowing her to have a good life. And her body is hers, so you're invading her privacy. Well, you will need that if the woman doesn't know how to close her legs.
Right.
You're going to need laws and rules. And you will need that if the man or the child is just chasing whores day in and day out. When you leave out of your parents' house, you get to do things that you're not able to do when they're right in front of you if you have a good parent. Most of your parents are basically alley cats or pit bulls. So you could, I guess, smoke a blunt right in your father's, blow the smoke in your mother's face. She could care less as long as you have weed for her. But if you have a good parent, you have to hide things when you're around them. Well, as you grow up, you won't have to hide it. You'll be on your own. You'll decide who you have sex with. And if you have sex with every pretty face, everything that looks good, you're going to die, young brother. That's what this precept is about. Everyone understands? Read it one more time.
Turn away thine eyes from a beautiful woman.
What does turn away thy eyes mean? Meaning you see she looks good and you want her, right? Look away, Ak. Look away. Don't get seduced. Don't be seduced by a woman's beauty, Ak. This is something you'll find as you get a little bit older, Ak. Everybody looks good. You understand? They all look good, all of them. Don't die over this one. She has a husband. She has a man. She's a drug addict. She's a thief. She's some scam artist, some credit card scam artist. She's a liar. Everybody looks good. Turn away. Do not get caught up in how she looks. You're going to die because you will ignore her character. And ignoring her character is how you die. So you're turning away. You're trying to avoid obsessing about what she looks like, knowing that if I focus on that, I won't care about her personality, her spirit, her conduct. And if I do that, I'm dead. Continue.
And look not upon another's beauty.
And look not upon another's beauty. What does that mean? That's not your beauty, it's his. That's another man's wife. That's his beautiful wife. That's not your beauty. That's not your beautiful wife. That's his. Don't look at another man's wife like that. Don't do that. Now, some of you can't help it because you're some type of sicko or something like that. So I got a call this week from, it was some brother, and he was saying he didn't want to hug sisters in the school and wonder why I hug sisters in the school. And I said, listen, if you don't want to hug sisters, don't hug them. Okay, just stop. Now, of course, I hug everybody all the time. I'm sore from hugging and kissing children and hugging brothers, hugging sisters, hugging everybody at the Passover. By the time I go to the hotel room, I'm sore. Now, why do I do that? Okay, I do that because I hug my mother. I hug women all the time who I'm not sexually attracted to, like my mom and my aunts and my sisters, my physical sisters. I hug them and there is no sexual attraction. There's nothing sexual. I'm just hugging my sister, my mother, my aunt. Now, some men cannot hug a woman without getting an erection. Stop hugging them. Me, myself, I hug everybody because I hug female family members. You get my point? I hug male family members. I just hug them, and that's what I do because this is my family, and I don't have the issues that some of you might have. If you have those kind of issues, look away. Don't hug anybody. Go hide. Take a cold shower, you damn pervert. If that's what you have to do, If all you can do is focus, if you can't stop thinking about sex constantly, and you can't hug anybody, you can't go to the Passover because all you can do is think about sex. Don't hug your aunt.
Right.
Don't go to the family reunion and have sex with your cousin, which I know some of you do. Don't do that. Look away, right? That's discipline. You get my point? The looking away is discipline. It's forcing yourself not to obsess on pleasure, because pleasure is the beginning of death. That's where death comes from, the obsession with pleasure. Continue.
For many have been deceived by the beauty of a woman.
That's what I just broke down for you. You're deceived. You look at her, especially with the Instagrams and the whole whores and the what's the PayPal thing? The thing with the where you get all rich. You get rich because you're a whore on the internet.
OnlyFans?
OnlyFans. With all of that, oh my God, all you see is sluts with the fakeness and the fake bodies and all of those things you love so much. And you love it and you obsess about it, and you are lied to like so many people are lied to. You're just deceived by it. You're like a fish that doesn't care whether or not there's a worm, there's a hook at the end of that worm. You just want the worm. You don't care about the hook. You know there are plenty of fish that get hooked. You know about that. You know a lot of fish get hooked. You don't care. You see the worm and you have to bite. Many are deceived by beauty. That's the sexual desire that a man has from a woman who looks good to men. Everybody understands. Continue.
For herewith love is kindled as a fire.
For herewith what?
Love is kindled.
Love is kindled. Oh, that's what everybody wants, isn't it? Except that's not real love. That love is a amore, or what's the Greek word for it? Eros, or erotic love, or lust. Lust, that's what it is, right? Your lust is kindled. That's where the term making love comes from, because it's from a Greek word which just means lust. That's it. You look at her, you stare at her, you want to have sex with her. She's another man's woman. She's another man's woman, however. She's not yours. Continue.
As a fire.
As a what?
As a fire.
As a fire. That's lust. Burning with desire. That's lust. Continue.
Verse 9. Sit not at all with another man's wife.
You get all this? This is all the same thing. This is helping you to avoid that thing in you that just is like a fish that must bite the hook. Don't sit with her, because if you sit with her, drinking with her, laughing with her after work, a lot of you got your work husband or your work wife. That is a sin. That's against the Bible to have a work husband if you're married to a real husband. You can't have someone who you constantly flirt with all the time, because doing that will kindle a fire in you to commit a sin. So this is telling the brother, don't have some sister who's married and you are her work husband and you laugh and have lunch with her every goddamn day thinking we're just friends. You're going to have sex with her eventually. Your lust is going to be kindled towards her, and you are going to get kicked out of this school. As long as you understand that, that's really all I care about. You go and have sex with some woman who has a man, you're done. They won't see you anymore. That's it for you. Everybody understands. Go ahead. And I don't want to hear how bad, how evil her husband is. But, sir, he doesn't even call her. He don't even take care of his kids. Fine. Teach him how to take care of his kids in the new Israelite school you start when you get the hell out of here. The school of I have sex with men's wives. He can be your first student, but you're getting the hell out of this school. Continue.
Nor sit down with her at thine.
That you understand the whole point. I got moving for time. That's the whole flirting, sitting all the time, having lunch with her all the time, being best friends with her, and she's married. It's going to kindle a fire in you because you're stupid. All right. Next.
I have another question, sir, that's on topic.
Mm-hmm.
This one is about pedophilia. Someone wants to know if there's any laws that talk about or mention that pedophilia is a sin.
Oh my God. Give me marriageable age. Give me pass her flower. That's what you need first. If she passed her flower. and then give me flower of her age, and then give me if he pass his flower for a man. All right, when you read it, there absolutely are laws against having sex with children. Damn, yes, that's against the Bible to have sex with a child. It's not against the law in Islam, and it is encouraged in Christianity. It's encouraged, it's been encouraged since the time of the Greeks. It was encouraged all through the Roman Empire when they made constant pornographic statues of little naked babies and little naked boys that sit in the Vatican and in most Catholic churches in Europe to this day. It's encouraged. Pedophilia is encouraged in Christianity. It is absolutely discouraged in the Bible. All right. It's a death penalty offense. Let me give me the ones I just asked for. Pass the flower of her age. That's what you need. And you need the one about the men to understand what it's talking about. All right. While I'm getting that, someone else give me another question. Asher, I'm sorry, Ephraim in the back.
Question about after Paul. Well, I have a question about Paul being bound.
Go ahead.
And then I have a question. And then leading into as to why he appealed to Caesar.
No problem.
So I guess going in reverse, did he appeal to Caesar because he thought he would get a fair trial there than in Jerusalem?
Yes.
Okay, and then that's crazy. Salakia.
Yeah.
And then as far as Salakia, I'm trying to get back. Okay, so Acts 24. If I can start at 25, sir.
Mm-hmm.
So is Acts
Let me
24.
see if we have the precepts yet. Any precepts yet? The ones I asked for? Pass the flower.
Come on.
Yeah, both of them, the man and the woman.
I got Ecclesiasticus 42:9.
Is that for the man or the woman?
That's for the woman, the daughter.
Okay, give me the one for the men, the young men. If you have it.
1 Corinthians 7:36.
I don't think it's that. Let me hear it. No, that's not it. It's the one where he said, "Let no man spoil you or take you in the flower of thy youth."
That's an Ecclesiasticus.
That sounds like Ecclesiasticus. Just get them both, all right? Get them both. See if you can find the katas out, all right?
Yes, sir.
Then I'll answer your question. Let's read the first one.
I got
you
it,
have, Levi.
sir.
Go ahead.
Ecclesiasticus.
Give me the woman. Give me the girls one first, all right? I think that's in Corinthians, right? The girls one. All right, whatever you have. Just read it. Go ahead.
Ecclesiasticus 42:9. The father waketh for the daughter when no man knoweth, and the care of her taketh away sleep when she is young, lest she pass away the flower of her age, and being married, lest she should be hated.
Here we go. Lest she pass away the flower of her age, and being married, she is hated. So what happens after you pass away the flower of your age? You get married. You get married once you pass the flower of what?
Of your age.
Of your menstrual cycle.
Age.
Of your period.
Of her age.
The flower of your age. Now give me the one in 1 Corinthians. I'm sorry. Hold that. Give me the one in 1 Corinthians.
The one in 1 Corinthians. Okay.
Is that what I want? Corinthians?
No, you said that wasn't the one you wanted.
No, I think I was wrong. Salakia. There's another one where it says if she passed the flower, then she can marry. It's 1 Corinthians 7. That is the one I wanted out. My apologies. Go ahead and read that.
But if any man think that he had behaved himself uncommonly towards his virgin, and she passes the flower of her age.
If she passes the flower of her age. Now we just read that before, right? Once you pass the flower of your age, you can marry. Now, what does it mean to pass the flower of her age? Many people, like the Christian church, the Greeks, a lot of fake Israelite groups. It was a fake Israelite group that used to teach you can have sex with a girl as soon as she has her period. The Muslims teach that. So if a girl has her period 11 years old, they go buck crazy over her and rape the child because she's had a period. That is a sin. You cannot have sex with a girl when she has her period. All right, that's a lie and a sin propagated by pedophiles and child molesters. How do I know? This is how I know. Go ahead and read again. Now give me the men. Go ahead.
Ecclesiasticus 26:19.
That's it. Go ahead.
Come on. My son.
My what?
My son.
My what?
My son.
My son. Go ahead.
Keep the flower of thine age sound.
My son, keep the flower of thy age sound. Now, this is a man. This is not a woman. So what is a man's flower of his age? A man's flower of his age is the same as a woman. Let me give you the metaphor. Imagine a rose, right? Show me a rose up here. Show me a budding rose. You can show me a rose before it buds, and then show me a blossomed rose. The flower of your age is when you have blossomed as a woman. That's an old biblical term that would be used for women when she has blossomed. Meaning, imagine a woman like a flower. A child is like a little girl is like a flower that's closed. She's a girl. She's not a little, toddler. She's now a young girl. She's around 11, 12. She has her period. So now she's budding. She's beginning to bud. She's beginning to look like she's going to be a flower. Now you see her because she's 13. You see when girls get that age when they start to get breasts and they have their period, and you see that she's budding. She's a budding flower, right? And then there comes a time when she slightly begins to open. She's maturing. And then there comes a time when she's completely blossomed. Now, what's past this part here? What's past the time when this flower has blossomed? Perfect. How the hell did you find that? Good job. Give him a hand. Right. So this is you, sisters, right here. This is you in the Bible. And this is you, brothers, right here. This is men and women. All right? There's a time in your life. Can they see this online? They see it. That's you. Look at that one over there where the X is. You can't move that, can you?
No, I can't. Sir.
So that's when you're just starting off. You're a young man. You're young. You're 12. You're 13. Like the young warrior right here. Right. He's like that on the end. Give him a hand. That's him. And the young brother behind him. That's them right here. They just starting off. Just getting a little fuzz around here, around the mustache. Just getting, looking like they might be able to come into the camp. They might, but you don't know because you can see the potential in them for manhood. Well, women, this is you as well. You see a little girl, you can see, oh, well, she's going to be pretty. That's what they usually say. Oh, she's going to be pretty when she grows up. Okay, she's not grown now. She's still a child, but you see the potential in her to be a beautiful, dignified woman. Then she gets a little older. And then you say, oh, man, look, she's growing up. She's getting older. Older brothers, they growing up. They're getting older. And then they go, and it keeps going. And then you get to that one down at the end. That is passing the flower of your age, not your menstrual cycle, your age, because at this time, you are a full-grown woman. What's past that stage? Who knows? What the petals begin to fall off the flower. That's right. The petals begin to fall. That's when you get married right there. Because if you keep waiting, you're too old. You get my point? You want to get a man right around there. Why? Because if you keep waiting, you're past childbearing years. Right? A woman, the best time for a woman to have a child, you start waiting until around 40, Lord be with you. 35, Lord be with you. It can happen. Hell, the sister had a baby at 80 in the Bible, right? Sarah, but it was a miracle. It wasn't an everyday occurrence. You understand? So that's why at this time, fathers are waiting for their daughters to get to be fully grown. What did Laban tell the brother that tried to marry his daughter? It is not our custom to marry the younger daughter before the elder, because you got to get that one married. You can't let the other one get married. You got to let the eldest one get married because her time is running out. Because if you start getting into the 30, or what they used to call being an old maid, then she really can't have any children, or she'll die from having children. Everybody gets the concept. Now, once again, the Most High can do whatever he wants to do. He can make a miracle happen, but I'm just talking about the normal way of life, all right? That's the flower of your age. That happens for men and women. What should a man do? When a man gets to be like that age right here, come on, say, I'm fine, warrior, for what? When a man gets to be that age right there, he wants to be a fully grown man that can make decisions about a family. You don't want to get to that age and you're still a fool chasing whores. You don't want to be a fully grown man where you're in charge. There's no adult that you have to listen to anymore. There's no father over you making sure that you don't have sex with a white woman and you've passed the flower of your age and now you're a fool who's in the streets chasing sluts. You're too old for someone to correct. No one can beat your butt anymore. Any correction you get now comes from the police or the grave. So by the time you get to be a grown man, you got to know something. You got to have some wisdom, because who's going to beat your butt and tell you to go in the house? No one. You're going to be corrected by death. That's it. But if you're a young kid, you can give him a spanking. You can send him to his room. You can take away his video games. But who corrects that blossomed man? The grave,
Right.
the penal system, the police. Everybody understands.
Okay.
There's a time when you're so old that you got to get out on your own, that you're a man now. Okay? These scriptures tell you that you cannot have sex with a woman before she is fully grown. You can't have sex with her because she's budding, because she's beginning to blossom. She has to be fully grown, which is why most civilized societies, they look at it around 18, 19. They say, all right, well, she's fully grown. They send a man out to war. At what age? 18, 19. You can go off and kill people. They'll put a gun in your hand and let you kill someone around 18 and 19, because you're a man now. You're able to go do your thing and make your decisions and handle the repercussions on your own. In the Bible even takes a further precaution with a woman. What does the Lord do? You cannot have sex with a woman without her father's permission. Now that takes it to another extent. So now not only must she be fully grown, but you need her father to tell you that she is ready. Everybody understands. And that's that. And if you look into the Bible and you don't see any rules that you think apply to child molestation, then just go ahead and molest somebody's child and you'll see that it's wrong.
Right.
That's all you got to do. Go ahead and do it. And as you are getting thrown, next question.
I was gonna say, so you'll see the consequences of being fully bloomed.
Some things are, if you can't read, you'll know it's wrong when you touch somebody's kids in here.
Right.
You touch a child in the UPK because you don't see a precept against it. You won't need to read anything.
Yeah, sure.
There'll be no need for reading for you anymore. All right. Questions in the back.
So like I said, on topic, was there an age, or was it just a season for when they would for a man would go to war? Because I believe
season.
Okay. So like that every man did at least 2 years.
Sorry, I missed the question.
Inside of numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think every man, once he reached a certain age, had to do at least 2 years in our military.
Yes.
So was a season and not just the age.
It was a season. Everything is a season in the Bible.
Yes,
which is
sir.
why things like this are in there. Flower of her age. Come on.
Same topic. I just wanted to know. I've researched and found out that supposedly Mexicans in the past of the tribe of Issachar,
See me one more time with the chaser, please, brother. Come on.
pre-Columbian, they used to have military schools, similar, I guess, to how Benjamin has military schools. Is that Israel's way? Like, we basically have our sons mainly in military schools, and basically through that time, the men above them will be able to see this man can start as a 50, this man can start as a 500. This brother's really doing this.
I have to check that out. I can't say every tribe did it as a rule,
right?
but every culture, heathen and Israelite culture, prepares their young men for war. Hitler had the Hitler Youth.
Right.
Like every culture wants their young men to learn how to defend the country.
So
I mean, that would be true for everyone.
Counter on concept.
Ephraim in the back. You want some grub? Just stand up and get it. All right. You had a question you were asking me out, Katazar? Good.
What was about, as like I said, at the end of Acts the 24th chapter, it seemed as if at first Felix, the one who was married to the Jewess, was friend, and then he betrayed Paul. So I just want to make sure that
you got to show me that whenever you sit down.
yes, sir. Khan.
No sweat. I can't recall it up front.
I have well, first I want to I'll let you know everyone that's joining us today.
Go. Who we got here?
So
Here we go. Give him a
we
hand.
got Houston, sir.
Let's rock it out.
We have St. Louis,
Houston, give him a hand. St. Louis, give them a hand.
San Antonio,
San Antonio, I see him up here.
Baltimore,
Baltimore,
Fayetteville,
Chicago,
and North Carolina, sir.
and North Carolina, man. Give him a hand.
And
Well done, Akim.
Greenville, North Carolina, had a question, sir.
Greenville, North Carolina. Put him up on the screen.
Yes, sir. That's the 10 seconds.
Shalom, Yahba Shemel Shabrakatam.
Shalom, warrior. Y'all about you now, Shai Bagatha.
Salaki Adawan, if I may, Baba Kasha, I had two questions. The first question, if I may, was concerning, let's say, for example, a brother has two so-called baby mamas or women he has kids with, and he has two sons, but he no longer deals with them. They're no longer his ribs. And he has another rib with no kids with that rib. How does he go about dealing with the inheritance, his inheritance with them? That's one of the questions. And after that, I have a scripture in the book of Ecclesiasticus, Baba Kasha.
I'm sorry, on the topic or on another topic?
On another topic, sir.
All right, so you're asking if you have two children with two different women. Go ahead.
And both the kids are sons. So one mother has the firstborn of the brother's son,
Right.
is a son, and the other sister has his firstborn is a son as well, but he's no longer with none of them. He has another rib. How does he go about, separating his inheritance and dealing with that situation, sir? Salaki.
Okay, I'll explain. Okay, so first of all, the law of inheritance in the Bible pertains to the eldest son. So just think the eldest. So now let's say you have 12 sons. Your eldest son is the one that inherits everything that you have and your position when you die, right? It's assumed if you don't make it known, if you don't make your will known, your eldest son would become you upon your death, right? Now that's regardless of the wife. Your relationship with the wife is irrelevant. Remember, it was like that too with Abraham. Abraham was going to make Ishmael his eldest son because Ishmael was his eldest son. But then the Lord told Abraham to listen to Sarah and kick out the bondwoman and her son, which then, of course, made Isaac his heir, who was not physically his eldest son, but was the one chosen by God. What does that tell you? The law is pertaining to age. When I say age, meaning which one comes out first. But that does not change your will. You can decide that you want the younger one to have the inheritance based on conduct. Precept, the 12 tribes of Israel. Who's the eldest son of the 12 tribes of Israel? Reuben, Ra'al-Bon, the stallion or the Seminole Indians. Reuben was the firstborn son. But Reuben had sex when he was a grown man. He had sex with one of Israel's wives. And because of that, he lost that position because that was Israel's will. That was his will, not to allow him to have the inheritance. And then the position of the eldest son went to the fourth born son, Judah. Everybody understands? Because that was Israel's will. All right. So if there's no will, then they'll just go by who's the eldest son. Even Ephraim and Manasseh. Manasseh was older than Ephraim. But when the grandfather went in to bless him, when he went to go put his right hand onto Manasseh to his right, instead he switched. And he put his right hand on Ephraim, which rose Ephraim up above Manasseh and made Ephraim in charge of the later northern kingdom. Everybody understands, right? So it's his son unless the daddy wants it differently. You get my point? That's why you want to do the right thing by your father, because he decides. He decides who gets the inheritance. So you want to be the kind of man that he believes will be able to take his place when he's not there. Everybody gets it, right? Come on.
Okay.
Deuteronomy 21:15.
Come on.
Let's Deuteronomy 21:15.
This
If
on the
a
topic?
yeah, come sir. If a man have two wives, one beloved and another hated, and they have borne him children, both the beloved and the hated, and if the firstborn son be hers that was hated, 16, then it shall be when he maketh his sons to inherit that which he hath, that he may not make the son of the beloved firstborn before the son of the hated, which is indeed the firstborn. So if I
Yeah, I just said it just now in that breakdown I just gave you. Because the mother is irrelevant. You cannot make him, he cannot lose his position because you're not with the mother, because you hate the mother. His conduct is what matters. Him. But you can, in fact, because you hate his mom, this young brother can lose his position in the family. There's a direct law against it, which is, to his question. The mother is irrelevant. You hate her. You can't stand her. She has your eldest son. That's it. Unless the young brother proves himself unworthy, which, of course, you can do. Come on. Okay. You should be careful and make sure that you're doing it for brainwashing, not because you hate the kid. You're going to have to be, because if it's the case, then in Israel, what could the mother do? Just think logically. She has your son and you remove the inheritance from him, even though he's the firstborn. She could take you to counsel. The son's mother could say, he removed my son from the inheritance simply because he's mad at me. And then you'll say, no, it's because he's brainwashed. And then the council would examine the child or the young man and talk to him. And if they find that he's not a dishonorable son, but you just did this because you hate the mother, then now you're the sinner and now you pay. It's like any court case, all right? Benjamin, you got it. Come on.
Counsel, to water for that. I got a breakdown as well. If I may, can I get a breakdown of Ecclesiasticus chapter 33, 17 through 19? I wanted to use that at camp, with some of the scriptures that shows that, all so-called leaders are garbage, you know what I'm saying? But I can't really wrap my head around it. Baba Kushah, sir, if I could.
Go ahead and read it.
Khan. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 33 and verse 17. Consider that I labored not for myself only, but for all of them that seek learning. Verse 18. Hear me, O ye great men of the people, and hearken with your ears, ye rulers of the congregation. Verse 19. Give not thy son and wife, thy brother, and Salaki, sir.
You need me to break this down now?
Really, I just need verse 18, if you could, Baba Kushah.
All right, keep going.
Khan. You want me to read verse 18 or
keep going. What verse are you in now?
19, sir.
19. Okay, I'm sorry. Read up above it one verse, please.
Khan, sir. Ecclesiasticus chapter 33 and verse 18. Hear me, O ye great men of the people, and hearken with your ears, ye rulers of the congregation.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 19. Give not thy son and wife, thy brother and friend, power over thee while thou livest, and give not thy goods to another, lest it repent thee, Salake, it repent thee, and thou entreat for the same again. I don't really understand what it's saying, sir.
I'll explain it. Read one verse above it, please. One verse. Read us 16.
Khan. Ecclesiasticus chapter 33 and verse 16. I awaked up last of all, as one that gathereth after the grape gatherers. By the blessing of the Most High, I profited. Salakia. And tread my winepress like a grape gatherer. Salakia, gatherer of grapes.
He's speaking about how hard he's working. He's working hard, like somebody working on a farm, getting up early, working and working and working, treading out the wine press to make wine, which a long time ago was a very laborious job to do. Continue.
Come on. Verse 17. Consider that I labored not for myself only.
Now, all this
but,
hard work, I'm sorry. All this hard work, he didn't do it for himself only. He didn't work this hard for himself. Go ahead.
Khan, but for all them that seek learning.
But he did it for the people he will also teach. And it's what we're doing today, is what the prophets of God do. We're not just learning for ourselves so that we can have wisdom, so that we can make better decisions, but we're also learning so we can teach other people to make better decisions, to have wisdom. You understand?
Khan.
Continue.
Khan, verse 18. Hear me, O ye great men of the people, and hearken.
Now remember, he worked hard. He works hard. He's learned, he's educated, and he's learned something. Continue.
Khan, and hearken with your ears, ye rulers of the congregation.
So now he's going and now he's correcting and teaching the people who rule over Israel, the people who make decisions in our nation. Continue.
Khan, verse 19. I don't know what that word is.
I'm sorry. I can't see it. What does it say? Someone give him a shot.
Verse 19. Give not thy son and wife, thy brother and friend.
Is that the word you were talking about, Ak?
Yeah, Khan, sir. It has a U in there. So
you have a 1611 edition. In the 1611, there are no V's and no Y's. So you'll see a U in their place. And you just have to know in your mind that that's a Y or a V. All right?
Khan.
So that's wives. Go ahead.
Yeah, Khan, sir. I'm going to read it from the top, sir, if I may, Baba Kasha.
Go ahead.
Ecclesiasticus 33 and 19. Give not thy son and wife, thy brother and friend, power over thee while thou livest.
Now here you go. Now with all he's learned, this is what you better understand. Do not betray your convictions for your family. Don't do that. Don't do that. Deuteronomy says this, I believe the 13th chapter. If thy brother or thy mother or thy nearest kinsman, who is as close to thee as thy soul, entice thee to worship another god, thy eye shall not spare him. Yea, you shall be first to fall on him. Don't betray God for your family. Right? That is a major. This brother did a lot of learning. He got a big education. And he began to understand why people betray God, why they betray what's right. And it's for people who they love, for people they care about. Right? Abraham had to leave his father to go get the inheritance of his ancestors, of Adam. You're going to have to go against your parents in so many cases to truly serve God. You're going to have to go against your brother to serve God. You're going to have to go against your sister. And these people are dear to you. They mean a lot to you, and you want to please them. So many of you, just to be in the UPK, man, you had to do something that was going to make you lose your children. Point blank. To be here, you had to risk losing your kids, losing your mother, to sit in this chair. And you're not out robbing banks or selling drugs or drinking blood in some Jim Jones cult. You're not doing that. You're doing nothing but learning the Bible, keeping the laws of God and man. And you had to lose your family to sit here, right? Lose them. Lose them. Do not betray God to keep your brother, your mother, your sons, your daughters. Don't do it. This brother took a long time to learn this, and he worked hard. And he realized why so many people betray what's right, trying to please people in their lives. Come on.
Khan out of one Khan.
Say it again.
Book of- Salakia.
I lost mine too. Give her a hand. That's what happens. That's the price. You understand? We paid the price, right? All right. Then we get our reward because we paid for it. Nothing is free, right? Come on. Mm-hmm.
When I was a young officer of 50, my grandmother literally told me, she said, I liked you better when you were high. She said, I would have preferred if you would have just been gay than what you turned out.
That's them.
That's what she said
That's
because I was in the UPK.
Yeah, that's them. Give him a hand. That's them. And you would never know. When you were young in the world, you think your parents just want you to, go on the straight and narrow. Stop getting high. Stop killing people. Stop selling drugs. Come to find out, they're fine with that as long as you don't follow Command and General Yana. They would rather you keep killing those niggas as long as you don't sit in a class and learn the Bible. It's a wild thing. All right? It's wild. You get it, officer, right?
Khan out of one Khan.
Give me those cough drops in the back on the table if you don't mind. Levi, was that it?
Salaka said that there's a little bit more.
I'm sorry. I meant to say Benjamin. Is there more? Go ahead.
Yeah, Khan. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus 33 in the middle. And give not thy goods to another, lest it repent thee, and thou entreat for the same again.
And now you've given your goods. You've given all your money to another. Why would you do that? Now think of the context. It's very simple. Why are you giving all your goods to them? Right? This will also happen to you. You'll come into the truth, and now you'll have to let your cousins live with you. Give all of your money to your mom or your friends. Why? Because you have to pay for their love. You got to help your homies, don't you? Your homies need your help. All of your crew that you hung out with when you were young, right? They need your money. They need your help. They need to live with you. They need you. All of your homeboys and your homegirls. God forbid you shouldn't give them money when they need it. You shouldn't help them out. What kind of friend are you? We went to high school together. We grew up together. Wasn't I there for you when you went to jail? Wasn't I there for you when you did that? Oh, I got to help you then. I can't betray my homeboy, my cousin. These cousins, forget about it. The debt to a cousin is never ending. A cousin's debt is just, he's like the World Bank. You owe a cousin for the rest of your life because he was there when you shot that cat. He helped you. He did this. He did that. That debt you got, when that cousin called on that phone, you have to drop whatever you're doing. And in your mind, you don't want to do it because you know by paying this debt back to him, you got to go to jail for him. But you owe him. He's your homeboy. He's your friend. You got to back him up, don't you? Right? You got to go with him. You got to get in that car, don't you? Didn't he get in the car for you? So you have to get in the car for him. Sisters, don't you have to lie for that sister? Right? Don't you have to tell a lie? Don't you have to lie for her? Why? Because she lied for you. She was there for you. She knows she kept all of your secrets. So you have to keep hers. And so you'll keep giving and giving and giving to these people because you don't want to lose them. Lose them. Lose them and find God. Lose your friends and your cousins. You don't owe your cousin a goddamn thing. Nothing.
Right.
What did you help me with? Nothing. I don't know what you're talking about. Nothing. You and I did no crime together. I don't do crime. I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't know who that is or who they are. Done. You know how many of those calls you have to get? I can imagine if I told you for a second the phone calls I got from cousins, you'd run the hell out of this room. Only Captain Ty Ward knows who gets those same calls. Like, yeah, man, and I shot this guy and I killed this guy and this and I killed this guy. And when I killed him. And you sit on the phone and go, I don't know what you're talking about. Who is this? You got the wrong number. I don't know you. Because it's never ending. It doesn't stop. They'll never say, well, you helped me out with that one, so that's enough. No. You got to keep doing this forever. Well, you change your life. Well, they don't care about you changing your goddamn life. Oh, what you knew now? Oh, now you don't know anybody? Or you going to act like you don't know us anymore? Oh, now that you got all into that Bible stuff, oh, and that Hebrew Israelite stuff, oh, now you don't know. I don't know you. None of you. Lose them. This is the lose them precept. You understand, Doc? Let them go. Don't give them your money. Don't save them from getting evicted. Don't let them sleep on your couch. Don't save that car that's always in jeopardy of getting lost. That damn car that you always have got to save. People ride the bus, you know. That's out there. Buses exist. A nigga, he act like he's losing a car. Like if he loses a car, he's getting boiled in a tub of oil. You lose your car, you walk. You ride the bus. But no, you can't let him lose his car. No. You know, they're going to take my car. Okay, cars, you lose cars sometimes. But what am I supposed to do? Make sure you never get in any doubt of homelessness or losing your car forever? Why? Because of high school? F you. It's over. You're grown now. That's it. That time is done, and that's over, and I don't know who you're talking about, and that's all. I don't know. We did nothing together. I don't know anything about this. Who is this anyway? This is a wrong number. You understand, Benjamin?
He got disconnected. He's trying to come back on.
You get it then. Come on.
Salak, yes, sir. Would another good precept be whoever loves father from Christ when he said whoever loves
Say
father?
it again.
Would another good precept be when Christ said whoever loves father and mother?
This is all over the Bible. Yes,
sir.
that's the precept. It's all over the Bible. Right? It's one of the reasons they call us a cult, and we relish in it. Why? Because we're not continuing the mistakes of the past. We're not doing that. You can do that. You can keep with the Christmas and the materialism and the paganism and the murder and the rape and the abortion. You keep it up. We're going to do a new thing. We're going to do something that is absolutely revolutionary. We're going to change in an extreme way. And you'll call us a cult. You'll call us brainwashed. And we will live and you will die. Everybody understands, all right? Next. Any questions in the room?
Sir.
Go
If
ahead.
I may, I have a question in Revelation 12. In 4 verses, sir. I'm starting at verse 7. Revelation 12 and 7. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels. If I may, sir, Michael and the angels fought against the dragon. That's them fighting the military power of Esau.
That's the angelic powers of the Most High, the angels, the so-called flying saucers, which are controlled by the angels of God, fighting the militaries of this world, which are led by our oppressor. That's the Third World War.
Come, sir. And in this sense, that would be the Space Force, being that it says in heaven.
Space Force is a hell of a thing. I got to learn about Space Force. Space Force is too new for even me. I know some brother sent me a video clip. Who can find this for me? It was the one day of the NFL draft, right? And they said, let's salute the armed forces. Find this, Asher. The saluting of the armed forces for the NFL draft. And they had every branch of the armed forces up there, and the Space Force was up there. And I said, well, what armed forces? Like, what are they protecting and from what? Come on. Here we go. And I looked at him and I said, there they go. The Space Force is up on the stage next to the Marines, next to the Navy. And the cat said, let's salute the armed forces. And I'm wondering, the people there watching, what arms? What are the forces? What are the arms? And what are they protecting? And from who are they protecting it? I know the Navy is protecting the water. They got ships and cannons and guns and missiles and submarines to protect America from other countries and their navies, the Army. They're on the land protecting from tanks and blah, blah, blah. The Air Force in the sky. The Space Force are in space, What are their weapons and who are they aiming it at? What are they doing up there with that? Come to find out, everything the UPK said was true for all these years, that our enemies, our oppressor, is preparing to fight the armies of God. Or else, who in the hell else are they going to fight up there? Who else? They're preparing for an invasion. Or else you have to explain how the Space Force is a military force. It's not an exploration. It's not NASA. It's a military service which defends from what? Are they defending America? Come on. You need the microphone. Uh-huh.
Donald Trump came up with that.
Yes, he did. Donald Trump is an idiot. And yet they kept it after they got rid of Donald Trump. They kept the Space Force. They didn't build the wall. They didn't build the wall, but they kept that Space Force because they need it. You can play it. It's one of those days of the NFL draft. Come on.
Like, if I may, sir, one thing I know specifically about the whole thing. I remember back in the days, like in the time of the Cold War, they used to blame all that exploration. We have to be up there first in case the Russians get up there and try to attack us from outer space.
I got you.
I mean,
okay, so is somebody up there? Where are the weapons at? Are the Russians attacking the space station? Well, the space station is Russian.
Right.
I mean, you'd have to tell me. And once again, it's so new. I haven't researched it enough to see what are they doing. At least what are they doing on paper?
Right.
Now, I know the real mission is to fight Christ and the angels, but I don't know what they're even telling people that the mission is up there. Go ahead.
Publicly, and because this was instituted when Trump was in office, so they were saying for any external threat to the planet.
Yeah, that's what I thought they said.
That's what they said, sir.
Yeah, they're not trying to fight the Russians in space or the French in space. They're trying to fight extraterrestrials. Like something from another place.
That's what I found, sir.
No, this
see if I
is
can find a
not during
video.
the draft.
They were at the Super Bowl.
That's the Super Bowl. I said the NFL draft.
Okay, sir.
Not the Super Bowl. I'll move on if we have another question. Let me get the brother up front. Come on.
Come, sir. And in verse 12 out of 1, so like it. Still in 7, sir. So the angels, it says, Michael and his angel fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels. So will his angels be the different branches?
The dragon and his angels?
Sir.
That's correct. The dragon is our oppressor. Who are his angels? The people that work for him. Do you understand? So think of all of the countries and their militaries led by our oppressor. Our oppressor is the dragon. Right? His angels are the people that work for him. And the people that work for him can be anyone of any race, of any nation. But you work for the dragon. You work for our oppressor. He is the dragon. You understand?
In verse,
the angel is a messenger. So you're the messenger of our oppressor, which makes you his angel. You understand?
Come, sir. Last question, sir. In verse 12, when it says, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. I wanted some clarity on that part where it says, ye heavens and ye that dwell in them.
Therefore ye rejoice. Read it one more time.
Verse 12, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea.
Keep going.
For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time.
So the heavens are going to rejoice, but the earth and the sea are going to mourn, because the devil is coming down from the heavens. He's not going to be in the heavens anymore. So the heavens can rejoice. Where is the dragon at now? Now, sis. Space. He's in the heavens, right? So the heavens are sad right now because the dragon is up there. But in a second, the heavens are going to get to be happy because the dragon is going to plunge down from the heaven. So who's going to be sad now? The earth. and the sea because he's going in the sea. It's a metaphor. The dragon is in a heavenly condition. Heaven is a condition, right? Heaven is having power, having rulership, having everything you need and all of the resources to get everything else, right? That's heaven. The dragon is in heaven. And because the dragon is in heaven, heaven is in hell. Paradise is in captivity. Every tree is sad. Every animal is miserable. All of them. Freedom is under attack. Happiness is under an attack. Every good and beautiful thing that lives on this earth is in oppression right now. But in 1 second, they'll all be free. Joy is going to come to the earth when our oppressor is gone. So heavens, be happy. Heaven, be happy because the oppressor is falling. But once he falls, he comes down to the earth and in the sea, meaning he crashes in the ocean. He's in the sky, but then he plunges down and now he hits the earth and goes into the ocean. And now the ocean has to be sad. And the earth has to be sad. And what is the earth and the ocean? A low condition, poverty and death. He's coming down to poverty and death. He's going to be in poverty and death now. So now poverty and death are going to be sad. You understand? Come on. Now, where will we be? Sis? Thank you. Give her a hand. We'll be in the heavens. We'll have all the power, all the glory, all of the might. He'll be down there suffering where he belongs. What do you have? Go ahead.
Consul, brother sent me this link, so I think this is the one. Ready, sir?
Please,
it's like a 10-second delay there. So
do your thing.
This off-season, time to go back to the stage for a very special moment.
All cheer for. Joining us on stage are active duty service members from the Army, Navy, Air Force, Space Force, Coast Guard, and Marine Corps. We have all those worthy
These service members. It's a military force. Doing what? All right, I gotta go. Go ahead.
On the website, right?
Uh-huh.
And as I'm reading, like they have, like FAQs, like frequently asked questions, and then what is the mission? Why do we need a space force? So why do we need a space force? Space has become essential to our security and prosperity. So much that we need a branch of our military dedicated to its defenses, just like we have branches of the military dedicated to protecting and securing the air, land, and sea. Unfettered access to space is vital to national defense. Space systems are woven into the fabric of our way of life. Space affects almost every part of our daily lives and is fundamental to the economic system. For example, satellites not only power GPS technology that we use daily, but allow us to surf the web and call our friends, enable the first responders, communicate. Basically, they're saying that we have to expand in space.
Well, I mean, I could see why you might need an IT service in space to work on the satellites or to make sure the satellites work. But unless you're going to shoot and kill all the satellites, I don't know why you need a military force. But I'll move on. I mean, I haven't looked into it. I don't know what they say. I know what the real mission is, and that's to fight Christ. Like at the end of this, they'll build up enough money, enough resources, they'll get funded, and they'll have spacecraft that will be science fiction. It will be straight up and down science fiction, and all of them are going to get destroyed in 1 hour. All of them will be trash, garbage. Come on. You need a microphone, sis. Go ahead.
Is it because the Israelites were talking about they wanted the chariots in the sky to come down and get the Israelites, so now they built the force to prevent
Absolutely. It's directly because they know that Jesus Christ is about to return, and they know he's coming back with a military force. And so this is their counter military force to fight the second coming.
Them.
Say again?
I can see why God hates them.
Yeah, I can see too. Give her a hand. All right. All right, next. Any questions online?
Consul, I have a question from Officer Yashawam.
Officer Yashawam, you got it?
He's asked, He asked her if he can use Ezekiel chapter 16 verses 1 to 13 to show how the Most High loves Israel.
Go ahead.
If anyone got it, Ezekiel 16 verses 1 to 13.
I gotta get ready to do the Roe v. Wade. All right.
Come on, sir.
How many more questions you have?
There's a good amount, sir.
Run through a couple of the good ones. Go ahead.
1 to 13.
Who made the food? Who made the food, sister? So while to give her a hand. She's always on deck, always helping the brothers. That's an excellent sister in the UPK. Well done, sis. Go ahead.
There's Ezekiel 16:1. Again, the word of the Most High came unto me, saying, Son of man, cause Jerusalem to know her abominations. 3, and say, Thus saith the Most High power unto Jerusalem. Thy birth and thy nativity is of the land of Canaan. Thy father was an Amorite, and thy mother an Hittite. 4, and as for thy nativity, in the day thou wast born, thy navel was not cut, neither was thou.
Stop. All you need is the first scripture he read. That's what you need to understand the rest. Read it one more time.
The first verse?
The one you just read just now. The first one you read.
Verse 4. And as for thy nativity.
No, the first one you read. You read one before that.
3. And say, Thus saith the Most High power unto Jerusalem. Thy birth and thy nativity.
Okay, you read one more. Go up above it.
A little above it?
Mm-hmm.
2. Son of man, cause Jerusalem to know her abomination.
That's the one you read first. Son of man, cause Jerusalem to know her abomination. He's talking to Jerusalem, which is the chief city of the Israelites. And because they're the chief city of the Israelites, what do they think? They think they're the best Israelites. They're the most holy, the most pure, the most righteous. But this prophet is sent to them so that they can what? Know their abominations. They think they're clean, but they're not. So this is this prophet explaining to Jerusalem how wicked they are, how evil they are, how vile they are. Now keep going.
Khan, verse 3, and say, thus saith the Most.
Say, so this is how you let Jerusalem know that they are abominable, that they're disgusting. Go.
Thus saith the Most High power unto Jerusalem. Thy birth and thy nativity is of the land of Canaan.
You were born in the land of Canaan. That's where you were born. Go ahead.
Thy father.
The land of Canaan is a land of heathens, a land of Africans. Go ahead.
Thy father was an Amorite.
Your father was an Amorite. I don't even know what nation that is. I think that's some type of
Hamite, I believe.
Whatever. I think it's a Hamite.
Johnson.
Another African. Go ahead.
Right. And thy mother an Hittite.
And your mother a Hittite. I don't know what the hell that is either. Commander General Yohana knows. I don't know. Either way, they're terrible. They're not Israelites. Continue. I haven't battled a Hittite in a little while. So I don't know them too well. But I know they're not Israelites and they're terrible. They are what?
Heathens.
They are
abominations.
They're an abomination. And you're one of them. You act just like them. You act just like an African. That's you. That's why you love to be naked. Oh, that's why you like to wear no clothes, walk down the street naked with your ass out and your legs out because you're an African. That explains it. That's why you're so filthy and dirty. And you love sex that causes AIDS because you're an African. That explains you. Keep going.
Khan, 4. And as for thy nativity in the day thou wast born.
And as for the nativity is the way you were born or where you were born. That's your nativity. Where you're native, where you're from. Continue.
In the day thou wast born, thy navel was not cut.
And the day you were, you know what cutting your navel is when you cut the cord. Right? When a baby is born, usually the father or some medical professional comes and they cut the cord from the baby. When you were born, nobody even cuts your cord. You're like a dog or a sheep or a cat where nobody even cuts the cord when you were born because you're nothing. You're filthy and disgusting, just like the Canaanites and the Hittites. Continue.
Khan. Neither was thou washed in water to supple thee.
Nobody even washed the blood off of you. Nobody even suckled you. You think you're something? You're not. You're having more abortions than births. You're nothing. What do you think you are, Holy Ghost filled? What do you think you are, saved? Huh? A child of God? You're filling up churches. Every woman in the church has had a goddamn abortion. Listen, oh God, this is so embarrassing. Even the lesbians have had 3 abortions. They went and found 3 or 4 members of Congress. Now, hear me good now. Get this for me, Asher. They went and found 3 or 4 members of Congress who had abortions, and they stood up there and said, yes, I have had an abortion. All of them are black. Do you know how rare a black person in Congress is? Congress is the vast majority of Congress is white. The vast majority. The Congressional Black Caucus is it's the largest caucus in Congress, but it's small compared to all of the white people in Congress. And of course, the 4 black people that stood up and said, I had an abortion, was the 4 black women on Congress. And how many black women you look up how many black women are even in Congress. Please look that up for me. Well, 4 of them went up in front of Congress and talked about the abortions that they had. That's who you are. That's you. Stop acting like you know Jesus and you know God. You know how to F out of both draw legs and have an abortion and act like nothing happened and then look down on everybody else like you're better than them. That's you. You want a man to have you only as a wife. He has to only have you as his wife, right? He can't have 2 wives. Well, you're the one wife he has, and you had 3 abortions. Congratulations to him. Baji.
Don, sir.
So I have
Give me all of them, the picture of all of them.
Okay, because I had a video.
If all of them is on the video, I'll take it. The picture will suffice. Or the video is fine too. Blah blah blah. Come on, Abaji.
That was not salted at all, nor swaddled at all.
Salted is because they would cut the cord and then put salt on it so the wound could seize up, could heal up. That's the old method, but not you, because no one gave a damn about you. You had no one that loved you or cared for you. You didn't have good parents. That's your nativity. That's how you were born. Now, why do you need to know that? Because you think that you are Holy Ghost filled and saved, and you look down on us. You act like we're street trash. You act like we're garbage, and you're some big church. You Christians are disgusting. How do you look down on anyone knowing what you've done in the dark? How do you look down on anybody? How do you look down on anyone that wants to leave the church? For the life of me, I never understood that. If you go tell someone, well, I don't want to be Christian, what? What are you into? You're not going to go to church anymore? You mean you're tired of getting molested? You're tired of getting stolen from? You're tired of having abortions? How dare you? As if no one can get sick of that. No one can get sick of getting molested in the church, at the choir retreat. No one can. You're shocked that anybody leaves the church. You can't even understand why you don't know why people stop celebrating Christmas. You can't get that. You don't get why people are sick of going broke every goddamn year for some white Jesus that looks nothing like them. And now they go poor, and you get angry because nobody celebrates Christmas? When you were born, no one even cut the cord. You were like garbage. You were a piece of defecation when you came out. You were less of a baby and more of a bowel movement when you came out. That was you. Now that we know that about you, why don't you get clean now? Right. So now that we know that you're not some suit and tie wearing, some big hatted Christian, now we know you've had all these abortions and whored and left so many men and so many baby daddies. And now you sit in church and act like you're, the most holy woman in church. Now we know you're trash. So why don't we just both get right then? Why don't both of us just try to get ourselves together and just please God? What do we have here?
So there's a video. I'm about to play it right now.
This was a good idea putting this up here. I see why you did it.
1 second, sir.
I see why you look at this.
But the next thing I knew, he was on top of me, messing with my clothes and not saying anything at all. About a month after the trip, I turned 18. A few weeks later, I realized I had.
Here are the congresswomen now that said they have an abortion. And guess what? All of them were just young and didn't even know. Play her story.
Yes, sir.
I don't see how you women can stand how Christians make you look. Christians make women look like children, like stupid little kids. Like you never mature. Never. And you're never responsible for sex, ever. Never. All I knew is that he was humping. He was just going back and forth and in and out. And I just said, what is happening here? Then all of a sudden, my belly starts to grow. Can you help me? Bitch, that's sex. That's you don't know what that is? You've had it before. You've done this before. You didn't know what this was. How do you women always talk about respect. Do you think that this is respecting women, treating you like children that can't make decisions, treating you like kids that cannot consciously make a decision about who to have sex with? He told me I was pretty. He told me I was pretty. No one ever tells me I was pretty. Next thing you know, I was bent over on the table. I didn't know what was happening. The same thing that's been happening since you was 16. He was doing it again to you. Play a little bit of this.
Yes, sir.
1 second. Go ahead.
Missed my period. I reached out to a friend and asked the guy from the church trip to contact me.
Rewind. Oh, God.
What did he say?
We're going to need more liquor, huh? We're going to need more scotch. In 1 second. You might as well go ahead and do it now. Go ahead.
I reached out to a friend and asked the guy from the church trip to contact me. I waited for him to read.
I made you fast forward earlier. Like when you started, it would be good. The way you started from.
Knew he was on top of me, messing with my clothes and not saying anything at all. About a month after the trip, I turned 18. A few weeks later, I realized I had missed my period. I reached out to a friend and asked the guy from the church trip to contact me. I waited for him to reach out, but he never did. I never heard from him. I was 18, I was broke, and I felt so alone. I blamed myself for what had happened to me. But I knew I had options. I had known other girls who had gone to a local clinic to get birth control and some who had gotten abortions. So I looked through the yellow pages and scheduled an appointment. During my first visit, I found out that I was 9 weeks pregnant, and then the panic set in. To all the Black women and girls who have had abortions and will have abortions, we have nothing to be ashamed of. We live in a society that has failed to legislate love and justice for us. So we deserve better. We demand better. We are worthy of better.
Let me tell you, Black women, something. You can always and should always be ashamed of being stupid. Always. Right? Don't ever let someone tell you that being stupid is not shameful. You should be ashamed of being stupid, because being ashamed of being stupid is how you smarten up. It's how you get smart. You should be ashamed of being dumb. She went and had sex with some man on the church trip, which is what I just said just now.
Right, sir.
On the church trip, she's having sex. And of course, she's just a little baby and doesn't even understand what's happening. Doesn't even know what all this thrusting and poking and pushing is about in her. She doesn't even know. And then 9 weeks later, her belly starts growing. Come on.
But she knew that the local clinic where all the girls
somehow
went
she knows that.
Yeah.
Somehow she's ignorant to what this pushing and pumping inside of her is. She don't know what he's doing. But she does know about this clinic that all the girls go to get abortions. She's smart enough to know about a medical procedure that she can have to terminate pregnancy, but is ignorant of sex in her as it's happening. You should always be ashamed of being dumb. Being a girl does not give you the right to be dumb.
Right.
You don't have a right to be stupid because you have breasts and a vagina. And this world teaches women to be dumb. They belittle you. And Commanding General Yohana raises women up. He teaches you. You have a brain. You're not some goddamn animal. You don't have to be so. He told me I was pretty. He talked to me. He liked my, then I went over his house and you know, I was just 25. I didn't know anything about it. I was just 47. I didn't know what was happening. You don't have to be dumb. You don't have to be a pawn all the time and just used all the time. Now that I've said that, now can I tell the truth? She's lying. They know. She knows what's happening. She wants to do it, but she doesn't want the repercussions. And women believe that because they're women, they can always use the myth of feminine ignorance to say that they didn't understand. And the world allows women that because the world wants women to be ignorant. They like it. If women weren't dumb, then they wouldn't have strip clubs. You know, the economy that would fail if women were smart. You would have no prostitution, no strip clubs. You wouldn't have car commercials with girls bent over. You wouldn't be able to have advertising without women being dumb. You need women to be stupid so you can use the sexuality of women to fool lustful men. And so they need you to always be, I didn't know. I went over Bill Cosby's house. He said, take this pill. I said, okay. I don't know what went on. Put him in jail. I didn't know what he told me we was drinking, and he said, take this, and this will make you feel good. I said, okay, Bill. You know, he's Bill Cosby. I had listened to him. I put it in my mouth. I drank it. Next thing you know, I woke up, he pumping on me. He on top of me. Bitch, you're dumb.
Right.
And that is not acceptable.
Right.
You can't walk around life like that. You can't live like that. Who could? Who could? Now that I've said that, let me tell the truth. She knew it was drugs. Right. She knew just what it was. But she uses the fact that society wants women to be dumb to avoid repercussions of actions that she decided to take. Do we have more of these women up here talking about abortions? I got to get in my topic now, Akim. All right, you got to wait. Okay, give me the cat. Give me the cat's one, right?
So you don't want the other
all right, give me that.
Counselor, ready?
Abadja, you let Abadja go first. Come on.
Say I found what you were looking for. 25 in the house.
Are you kidding?
25 black women in the house.
There's 25. How many members of Congress are there?
I believe there's like 400 just in the house.
400 in the house. There's only 25 black women in the Congress. Right. 4 of them went up there and had abortions. That is shameful and ridiculous. And all 4 sat on Congress and talked about the story of how they were young and they didn't know. And they don't know what penis is. And he pulled that thing out of his pants. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what he was going to do with it. Don't raise your daughters to be like that. We don't raise women to be stupid, right? Treat women like they're intelligent adults. Treat them like they have the capacity to learn and that they can make decisions and like they're responsible for their decisions, just like any man would be. You telling me the Commanding General Yohana and the UPK, there is no greater champion for women than Commanding General Yohana. None. None, not at all. Not Planned Parenthood, not the Democratic Party, not the Christian Church, because everyone else will make fools of women for political power. Everyone else. No one else will say, well, you know, you should shut your mouth. You should control yourself. You should learn. You should not put pills in your mouth that people hand you. You shouldn't just open up your legs and lay down and close your eyes and leave it to him because you don't know what's happening. You shouldn't do that. You should scream if you're being raped. You know how that's in the Bible, brother. The Lord said, if a woman is being forced to have sex, she is to scream out. If she does not scream out, then she wanted it. That is empowering to a woman. That's empowerment. You understand what that means? Now, no one can say you're some idiot who sat there and let a man jump up on down on top of you and you hated it and didn't want to do it, couldn't stand it, wanted help. What'd you do? Laid there and cried. That's an insult to women. Right. It's damn sure an insult to any daughters I raise. What you do? Lay there and cry? What you do? Close your eyes and wait for it to end? Huh? So what now? I have to kill this brother? I got to kill him now because you just laid there and cried during something that you didn't want to do. But if I told you to drink this cup, you could say, I don't want any. If I told you, do you want another plate of food? You could say, no, I'm full. But when it came time for sex, you were quiet and didn't say anything. So now I should kill him? I'm not. I'm killing both of you. Both of you are dead. Both of you. Because you are just like him. You're not some retard that is not responsible. He's not a retard. This is empowering to you. Now you get to make a decision. Now you get to be treated like you always say you want to be treated. Now you get to be equals. Now you get to be an equal. Now we'll expect you to be responsible for what you do, just like a man. Keep going.
Also got the video. They sent me a better copy of the Jade Roe.
Who?
Jane Roe. The woman.
Hold that. We're gonna need that in 1 second. I guess we got to do that first.
Ready, sir?
I probably got to break down the Jane. Give me the women, the congressman, and then let's just explain the whole.
You got it, sir.
Roe v. Wade. All right.
I'm sharing my story, even though I truly believe it is personal and really nobody's business, and certainly not the business of politicians. But I'm compelled to speak out because of the real risks of the clock being turned back to those days before Roe versus Wade, to the days when I was a teenager and had a back alley abortion in Mexico. A lot of girls and women in my generation didn't make it. They died from unsafe abortions. In the 1960s, unsafe septic abortions were the primary killer of African American women.
Now that's nasty. First of all, now how old is she? This woman had the money to go to Mexico and have an abortion, in the 50s? Which means that she was a woman of resources. Like, who in the hell? Like, if you wanted to go to Mexico right now, you couldn't go. You don't have the money to go to Mexico. This woman had the money to go to Mexico in the 50s to go get an abortion in a nasty old. That's funky. In a back alley, and you're supposed to feel sorry for her. She got the money, and listen, and the wherewithal, the mind to do it. Like, the resources to go make it over there. But not enough resources to what? Not have sex with him. Right. You could do that. Like if you can fly to Mexico in the 1950s and get an abortion, you don't have the wherewithal to say, I don't want to have sex. I'm not ready to have a baby, so I don't want to have sex. You can't do that. But you can go to Mexico in a back alley. Sis, come on. Microphone. See me with the chaser too up. Come on. You gotta turn the microphone on. The water. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I think now that Roe v. Wade is getting overturned, I think it's gonna make women in America.
You think it'll make women do what?
It'll make women in America rethink how they're gonna live their lives. They can't just get an abortion no more, so they have to think: do I want to live this way? Do I want to have sex
Well,
with
let
this
me. Well,
person?
there's a study. There's a study that's already been done on that. We'll pull it out tonight. They did a study to see if, without access to abortions, will it make women consciously make better decisions about sex? The research says no.
Right.
That even without abortions, women will not. Women will do what? Fly to Mexico and go into a back alley and have an abortion. That's what they'll do. Women still will not do it, but there is something that will stop women from having sex that could lead to unwanted pregnancies. And we're going to bring it out next. All right. I'm going to go with you. And then I'm going to go into this breakdown here. Go ahead.
I'm just gonna say it reminds me of the same spirit as the sisters who go down to Brazil to have their bodies augmented. They're both in the spirit of a whore.
I'm not gonna say that's wrong because I don't know anything about it. I just learned that I thought BLM was Black Lives Matter. I remember asking somebody, I said, what is all this BL? What is it again? BLM? BBL. I'm thinking like this is the Black Lives Matter thing. And I said, why is all this Black Lives Matter on there? What does this Black Lives Matter have to do with this woman in these jeans? Okay, I'm moving on. Okay, I don't know. I'm not trying to say it's wrong, or if you're a little lacking back there in the tail or something, you need a little help. I don't know if it's wrong. You gotta ask Commander General Hunter that. All right. There's no direct scripture against it, but of course, don't be stupid. Right? It is a shame to be dumb. If you're gonna go over to some hotel room and let somebody inject God knows what into your backside, silicone. Don't be an idiot. Just because you're a woman, it doesn't give you the right to be dumb. So when you're on TV next, well, how'd you get all these bruises all up and down your thighs and your butt looks like a mattress is shoved under your skin? And then what do you say? I didn't even know. He told me he was a doctor. He said he was Dr. Jerome. I said, Dr. Jerome? He told me, where was his office at? It was in the Holiday Inn Express. Well, since then you realize that it was Dr. Jerome, that it was the same Jerome that you grew up with, your cousin Jerome. I know, but I thought my cousin Jerome went to med school. I hadn't seen him. And so no one will feel sorry for you anymore because you're stupid.
Right.
And you didn't care about the risk. And that's the whole evil thing about women acting dumb, because they're not. They just don't want the repercussions. So once their backside explodes and they get cancer from a faulty job on their butt, they don't want to just say, yeah, I went down there and did it, and I was trying to save money, which is what the real case is. They were just trying to save a few dollars, and so they did something that was risky. But they're not going to say that. They're going to act like they were just so trusting of Dr. Jerome. And they really trusted him, and they thought he was a Holiday Inn medical physician. And America allows you to be that way. But the UPK, we expect women to be just as smart as men. I pray you understand that. Go ahead.
What do you want first, sir?
Give me Roe v. Wade. Clap it up. Okay, let's get it on now. So now, Roe v. Wade. Of course, let me explain to you if you don't quite understand what happened this week and why there was such a giant tumult in the news about it and so many protests in Washington, D.C. in front of the Supreme Court. In 1969, there was a case. Look it up. Give me the case now, right? 1969. This is a pseudonym, Roe. Roe is not the woman's real name, right? Asher will give me the woman's real name in a second. But this woman had 3 kids already, I believe, right? She had 3 kids. She was very promiscuous in her town. I believe she was in Oklahoma or Texas, I want to say. And now she wanted, come on. Yes, Norma McCorby. That's her real name.
Yes.
But they didn't want everyone to know her real name because she's a woman. And you can't really say her real name because she's just a sweet little pie.
You got to protect her from being.
You got to protect her. So they didn't use her real name. With those Supreme Court cases are always the real name. The Miranda rights, that's a real brother, Miranda, a Mexican brother. And that's why the police have to tell you your rights now when they arrest you. All those names are real names, but not this woman. She's just a sweet little angel cake. So instead of using her real name, they named her Roe or Jane Roe.
Yes.
As opposed to Jane Doe, which is usually what they would do. Jane Doe, they named her Jane Roe or something Roe, right? Jane Roe, right? And now she had 3 babies already. She was a drug addict. She was promiscuous, and she wanted an abortion. Now in Texas at that time, you could get an abortion. Abortions were not legal within every state, but most states had some provision that would usually allow an abortion in the case of rape. So that is what most white women would do. Most white women would just say, a black man raped me. And if a black man raped you, or if you were raped, period, you were allowed an abortion. So she already had 3 children. She didn't want any more kids. So she went and said, I was raped by black men. Black men raped me. And then they allowed her to have the abortion. But lo and behold, that day, the anti-abortion people were looking for a case that they could push to the Supreme Court. And so they were there at the abortion clinic with questionnaires trying to see which woman they could use to fight and make abortion legal in every state. And so they picked her. So then they had her tell the truth, that she was not raped, but she just wanted an abortion because they wanted to fight this provision that you had to be raped to get an abortion. And so this went to the Supreme Court. At this time, there was a majority of Democrats on the Supreme Court who are very pro-abortion because Democrats make money with abortion clinics, mainly Planned Parenthood. Right. Planned Parenthood, I think, is the largest donor to the Democratic Party. You can look it up and see who is. So they wanted to make abortion legal in every state, and they wanted to take away any provision that you could stop a woman from having an abortion. And there was all kinds of provisions, meaning a woman could have an abortion only if she was raped, only if it was incest, things like that. And they wanted to fight it so that it would be a constitutional right, right? So they pressed this case through the Supreme Court, and it passed. And that's when Roe v. Wade became law. A woman was guaranteed the right to an abortion in every state. All the women's groups were so happy because now women could just whore as much as they want and have an abortion as much as they want. It was a victory, I guess. I don't see how it could be a victory, but they counted it as a victory. That now women now could kill their children instead of understanding repercussions and avoiding terrible mistakes. 1 second, sis. So now, 50 years go by this week. Now the Supreme Court has a majority of Republicans or Republicans supporting justices on the Supreme Court. And now they're looking for a way to bring down Roe v. Wade. Why? Because Planned Parenthood is the biggest donor to the Democratic Party. And if you get rid of abortions, you get rid of the money that is donated to the Democratic Party. Everyone understands. Republicans don't care about abortions either, but they do care about elections. And Planned Parenthood helps Democrats win elections, right? Like the NRA helps Republicans win elections, the gun rights people. So now this week, they were preparing. There's a case that's in front of the Supreme Court now that's been there from the 80s. It's called Casey versus something. Slipped my mind. It's been there for so long. Casey v. Planned Parenthood. Casey v. Planned Parenthood. It's been in front of the Supreme Court for years.
Planned Parenthood v. Casey.
Planned Parenthood v. Casey. The V is versus, right? Planned Parenthood v. Casey, where Casey, who was the governor of Pennsylvania, is suing Planned Parenthood because Pennsylvania wants to have provisions in their abortion rights that says you can have an abortion, but you have to get your husband to approve of it if you're married. And if you're a child, you have to get your parent to approve of it. Asher.
The question in argument is, can a state require women who want an abortion to obtain informed consent, wait 24 hours, if married, notify their husbands, and if minors, obtain parental consent without violating their right to an abortion as guaranteed by Roe v. Wade.
That's what I just said. All right. So now, please give the sister the microphone. Come on. Come on, y'all. Hurry up.
Last statement. Okay. I just want to say the reason why I think they want to stop abortions is because of the same-sex agenda. They can't have babies. So all these unwanted kids that are now coming in, they want them to adopt them and say, okay, now they can have a kid.
Okay, well, it could be. We'll see. I'm just giving you the simple answer, which is usually money. All right, money is just a thing. Money is the root of all. The love of money is the root of all evil. And most things go back to greed. Most things. But who knows? Let's keep going. Give it a microphone. Give it the microphone. All right, you got something else?
The video.
This video is breaking this whole thing down. Go ahead.
Ready, sir?
Not yet.
Jane Rose story.
Not yet. Not this one. Okay. So now, let me just finish up the whole thing about the damn what's going on now. Casey v. Planned Parenthood went before the Supreme Court because Pennsylvania is saying that they want to put provisions in their abortion laws that says you have to get a parent's consent if you're a child, your husband's consent if you're legally married. So this went back and forth to all these appellate courts in Washington, D.C., and they finally struck down the one that says you have to get a husband's okay, because they said, and this is another insult to women, they said that a woman should not have to ask her husband to get an abortion because it opens her up to being abused by her husband. That's another, this woman is a child. She's a child. You know what happens if your husband beats you, right? You got the police, the cops. The cops come and arrest you if you beat a woman. But a woman is such a helpless little child that you can't even ask her husband if she's okay to have this abortion, even though he is legally responsible for that child, because he might beat her. And if he beats her, she doesn't have any police to call or any way to do anything because she's just a little baby. They struck that down. They said she doesn't have to ask her husband. In a 5-4 right? Case. Say again?
5-4 decision.
5-4 decision. She don't have to ask him. But they were hung up on the child one because Pennsylvania still is holding on to, if a child wants an abortion, she should have to ask her parents. Planned Parenthood said no, she should not have to ask her parents, even a child. Well, this went back and forth to the appellate courts for years, since I think the 80s. Finally, it went to the Supreme Court. And this week, the Supreme Court was preparing to write down their decision to strike it down. And when they wrote it, you should get the thing they wrote. The thing they wrote is insane. I mean, they hated Roe v. Wade, couldn't stand it, they thought it was stupid, thought the constitutional rights that it was based in were dumb, that it has nothing to do with the pursuit of life and liberty and peace and the 14th Amendment, and it has nothing to do with the right of privacy. And you should get the brief that was released this week. And somebody released it to the press. Somebody got that piece of paper that was them writing down what they're going to say when they strike down Roe v. Wade, and they released it. Who released it? Who the hell knows? There's a good reason for both sides to release it. The Democrats or the Republicans, but it got released and everyone exploded because it means finally they're going to get rid of Roe v. Wade. What does repealing Roe v. Wade mean? It means this, that every state could decide whether or not they're going to have abortions and what rules will apply to abortions. Right. So what would that mean? A state like New York, you want to kill your baby in New York, nothing is going to change. Everybody in New York loves abortions. But in Texas, you're not going to have an abortion. Right. You're going to have to go to, what's a close, maybe Oklahoma. You have to go drive somewhere to have an abortion. You have to go fly to Mexico. You'll have to leave Texas to have an abortion. But in states like, New York, forget about it. New Jersey, you sisters that want to have sex out of both draw legs and keep having abortions, you'll be fine. Don't worry. But other states, you will not be able to have an abortion, and there'll be rules to getting an abortion. You get my point. That's what repealing the law means practically. All right. In its practical application, it will change things in certain states. It will change nothing in certain states. Certain states will double down on it. Like New York will probably pass a law making sure you don't have to ask your parents. They'll do something like that, where Texas, other places will not let you have an abortion at all. Everybody understands, right? It will be up to the states now, unless Congress decides to make an amendment to the Constitution guaranteeing the law in the Constitution, which is what amendments are. Amendments are when they wrote the Constitution, they also made an amendment that says you can add things to this document if you think you need to, right? And so now every few years or 10 years or 20 years, they make an amendment. The 14th Amendment, the 13th Amendment about slavery, they add things to it. They might add something to it to guarantee abortions. They'll have to if this court decision is struck down. The Supreme Court decides if laws are already based in the Constitution, right? If the Constitution already supports this, which is why the UPK can speak wherever we want to speak, right, because of the First Amendment, which guarantees the freedom of speech. So we can go out and speak wherever we want, and there are no greater champions of the First Amendment than Commanding General Yohana and the UPK. Right. Why do I say that? The press said that. Right. The media said that. I'm quoting what they said about the UPK. The brothers will put it up online if you need to. The 14th Amendment is the right to privacy. So the previous court said this abortion is covered in the 14th Amendment. The court today says it is not. And that's why they're going to get rid of it based on the document that they wrote. All right. If they indeed do get rid of it, you'd have to wait to see if it's final. But the document looks like they're preparing to. But of course, it's not final yet. Everyone understands, right? Now, that's Roe v. Wade. Now we're going to go back to her, Roe. What's her real name?
Her real name, sir, is Norma McCorvey.
Norma McCorvey. And I'm going to tell you the first terrible problem with thinking that you have a right to an abortion. And you can easily spell it out with analyzing Norma McCorvey. Norma McCorvey her name is synonymous with the right to an abortion. And after Norma McCorvey had that abortion, she regretted it. And she regrets it to this day. And so will you. Please play. Come on.
So, yeah. And she says it was good for the cause.
Yeah. Go ahead and play it.
Counselor, here we go.
Story was a terrible one. She said she had been gang raped, gotten pregnant, was desperate to get an abortion. That's what everyone believed, as long as Jane Roe remained anonymous. When she went public, she told a different story.
You were raped while you were in Georgia?
No, I wasn't.
You were not?
No, I wasn't.
Oh, so all those stories that are in the books and so forth are not true?
Yes, sir. Yes.
They're not true.
Right.
And it turned out that lying wasn't the only embarrassment this darling of the pro-choice forces presented. In her personal treatise published last year, Norma McCorvey told the story of her somewhat sordid life. Then she still adamantly supported abortion. Now she adds that to the list of sins she took. Jane Rose.
Oh my goodness. You got to get the whole, you can read about it. This woman became an anti-abortion advocate. Roe of Roe v. Wade became one of the biggest anti-abortion advocates because it haunts her soul. It haunts her. She can't get over it. And they don't tell you that when they're pushing you, for your right to have an abortion. Because you have the freedom to do a thing, it doesn't mean you won't regret it. And women regret having abortions. Some women never get over it for the rest of their lives. For the rest of their lives, they think about that child. what he or she would have looked like, what she would have grown up to be, what would have happened. They thought they couldn't handle a child at the time, right? But as the years go by, they say, you know what? Really, I could have handled this child. You know, I got a new job since then. I graduated from school. I could have made it. I saw other sisters have a child.
I became a congresswoman.
Yeah, I became a congresswoman. They look back on it and go, I hate myself for what I've done.
Right.
And this woman did. You can read about how she became you can just Google her and read about how she became an I think I sent it to you today. How she became an anti-abortion advocate. And Shar will pull it up, but one of you pull it up on your many phones. That she became an anti-abortion advocate. The Roe v. Wade. That's the first thing you better understand when it comes to an abortion. The Bible says that under the sun there is good and evil. There is the place of righteousness and there is the place of wickedness. No matter what laws are passed or laws are struck down, this world will always be a place that you can either do the right thing in or do the wrong thing in. This world will never be a place where you can never get an abortion. You will always be able to get an abortion here. You will always be able to get high. Always. You will always be able to lie, to steal, to harm people. There'll never be any law they pass or strike down that will take away the choice that must be made to do the right thing. You'll always have that choice. What they don't tell you is when you choose to do the wrong thing, you are the victim. You. And it haunts your soul for the rest of your life. And then some sisters who have abortions, you've met them. After that abortion, they have 6 kids, 7 kids. They can't stop. They keep having them. Trying to make up for that one that they killed or those 3 that they killed. Or they have so many abortions that they can't have children anymore. And then now they begin to miscarry over and over and over again because their wombs have been scraped so much that no child can have purchase in their womb anymore. And then they're the saddest thing you've ever seen. That woman who cannot go back in time and take away the mistakes of a lustful, ignorant youth. Just like Roe. Just like her. Just like her. Anyone have it yet?
Yeah, I got some information, sir.
Go ahead. Read it.
You want exactly how, if you can just say what you wanted again.
How
sir?
she became an advocate, an anti-abortion advocate. That's what you need.
Yes, sir. Okay. Because what I have here is her talking about taking the money. She was good at what she was doing.
If you type in just what I said, you should find it.
Can you please say it again one more time, sir?
How she became an anti-abortion advocate. Then I got to go to the cats. If you can't find it, I got to move on. All right, go ahead. Let the brother read it. Not the cats. Give me the reasons. Give me the other one. Give me the one about humans, about the reasons. What happens if unwanted children are born? You got that one? The effects of having unintended pregnancies
and abortion.
Yes.
Right?
I mean, what happens if you get rid of abortions? Not the one with the conclusion at the end, but the other one. Go ahead, Warrior. Read it, please.
When women are denied an abortion?
That's what you need.
Constant.
Go ahead, Doc. Give him the microphone, please.
Like it, sir. It says, at a book signing, McCorvey was befriended by Philip Bingham, an evangelical minister and the national director of the anti-abortion organization Operation Rescue.
Asher, the one you need is when it says, when women are denied abortions. 1 second. When women are denied abortions.
The children far worse
Yeah,
than peers?
that's the one you need.
I have it right here, sir.
Okay, go ahead. Please read it again, brother.
She converted to evangelical Protestant.
Start from the beginning.
At a book signing, McCorvey was befriended by Philip Bingham, an evangelical minister and the national director of the anti-abortion organization Operation Rescue. She converted to evangelical Protestantism and was baptized on August 8th, 1995. 2 days later, she announced that she had quit her job at the abortion clinic and had become an advocate of Operation Rescue's campaign to make abortion illegal.
Roe of Roe v. Wade found this church cat and 2 days later quit her job and became an anti-abortion advocate. You know what that means, Doc? That means that was burning in her soul for years. 2 days later, she quit her job and became an advocate against abortion because she regretted it. But she can't take it back. You can't undo it. You cannot take back a murder. You can't wipe it off your soul. It's a terrible stain. And you'll change and grow and become a whole different woman. And that crime will eat away at your being like it did her, like it did Roe. And if it does it to Roe of Roe v. Wade, what in the hell is it going to do to you? That's enough. Now let's look at the arguments for abortion, right? And these arguments are very valid. Let me just say that first, all right? Pull up the arguments for abortion, please, the one I just told you about.
I'm right here, sir.
Please go ahead and read it.
Go on, sir.
I'm missing questions online. Brothers online in their different classes or sisters, let me know if you have questions. If not, I'm gonna keep rocking and rolling. All right, go ahead.
Go on, sir. This is the article from Stat. When women are denied an abortion, their children far worse than peers. This was written back in 2018.
Read that one more time. Their children what?
Their children fare worse than peers.
And when women are denied an abortion, the children who are born fare worse than their peers, meaning from kids who are born of mothers who didn't want to have an abortion. Everybody gets the concept, right? Keep going.
Concert. So it says here, more than half of women who seek abortions are already mothers. There are 3 sets of children whose lives may be affected by whether a woman receives or is denied an abortion.
So meaning more than half of women, come on. The first, I'll explain. What they're saying here is they're trying to tell you why women should have the right to have an abortion. Okay, meaning, let's say you have a woman who did not get an abortion. She didn't want one. She has a child. Then you have a woman who wanted an abortion, but she wasn't able to get one.
What happened?
Go ahead.
What happened if a person was never introduced to abortion clinics?
And what if, okay, that's good, but what if the whole point of this is this woman wanted one, but she wasn't allowed to have one. This woman didn't want one. So just think 2 women. One is like, I want my baby, I'm fine. Another one says, I don't want my baby, but the state won't let her have an abortion. They're trying to say that her child, the woman who wants the baby, will be better in life than that baby who was born to a woman that didn't want him.
Oh, okay.
That's the point.
All right.
You get the point?
Yeah.
That's the point. And their argument is this. Usually half of women who have abortions already have kids, meaning they already can't take care of the kids they have. They already can't take care of them, which is why they want an abortion. Just like Roe. They already have kids, and now they're pregnant again. It just keeps happening. Oops. And she's a woman, so she doesn't have an effing brain. So she just opens her legs and she just keeps having sex. I already got 4 kids, and now I'm pregnant again. What am I going to do? The state needs to come in and help her. She needs help because she already has kids. She can't stop. And if she has this child will be in terrible condition. Not just this child, but her other children now have to share food that they already don't have. That's the argument for giving women the right to an abortion. And that makes logical sense. She can't stop doing it. She already has kids she can't take care of. Now you're forcing her to have more kids she doesn't even want. Simple enough. Hold your point. Keep going.
There are 3 sets of children whose lives may be affected by whether a woman receives or is denied an abortion.
Mm-hmm.
The child or children a woman already has when seeking an abortion,
Mm-hmm.
the child born from an unwanted pregnancy,
Mm-hmm.
and the child or children born from a pregnancy after an abortion.
There you go. Keep going.
By comparing the outcomes of children of women who were denied abortions to those of more than 400 women who received abortions, we have been able to see the impact of abortions on women's existing and future children.
Keep going.
Concern. Our latest research, published in the Journal of Pediatrics, shows what happens to women's existing children. Consistent with mothers' concerns that raising a new child would limit their ability to care for their existing children, we found significantly worse socioeconomic outcomes for children whose mothers were denied abortion.
So meaning what? If the mother doesn't get to have an abortion and she just keeps having these kids that she doesn't want, it makes it terrible for all the other kids.
Yep.
Because if she only had 2 kids, that's less mouths to feed, less welfare, less housing. And so it makes life terrible for even the kids that she wanted. Continue.
Concern. Than those who receive them. A greater chance of living below the poverty level, 72% compared to 55%.
She's going to be poor because she has these children.
Poorer.
Keep going. Huh?
Poorer.
Poorer. Go ahead.
Or living in a household without enough money to cover food, housing, and transportation.
There's just not enough money to go around. No one can take care of all of these kids that she keeps having. Continue.
87% compared to 70%.
My God, keep going.
We also saw a small but significant reduction in achieving developmental milestones among children whose mothers were denied abortions compared to those who received them.
Meaning what? Even the children are not going to be smart. They're not going to achieve anything. They're going to be burdens on society. These kids who are had by women who don't want them. Come on.
If I may, sir, they won't be they also won't be developmentally engaged as much.
Exactly. They're not going to be able to go to school and achieve anything. It's really, they're going to be burdens on society. Kids that society has to take care of. Keep going.
Yes, sir. It says, sir, children whose mothers were denied abortions compared to those who received them, possibly related to the increased financial strain on the family. Among women who seek an abortion but are denied it, more than 90% chose to keep and raise the children rather than place it for adoption.
So that once you have the child, they do not put it up for adoption, they keep it, which means what? They raise it in a home that they cannot take care of this kid. They don't have the money. Hold your point. They don't have the resources, anything else.
I was going to say, sir, after wanting to aborting them and not being able to, they rather keep it instead of...
They rather keep it. And they can't afford it.
Right.
And it hurts the other children. And so really, the humane thing to do, the kind thing to do, is to abort the baby. And that's this argument. This argument is not a cruel argument. This is not about murder. This is not about, killing a baby. This is really kindness for the other kids. This is humane. Sis. Microphone.
I was watching something where they were talking about ectopic pregnancies.
Ectopic,
why they shouldn't be pushing the abortion for ectopic pregnancies. And it's almost like the same thing. Ectopic pregnancies, it's dangerous for both the child and the mother because the fetus is growing outside of the uterus. So that can kill both of them. But they were trying to argue, well, what's the difference?
What's the difference? Who said that?
The child should it's a different pregnancy or it's a different child, so they should be able to have a life just like a regular.
Who, an ectopic baby?
Yeah.
Yikes! Listen, okay, that's an idiot. Whoever said that. An ectopic pregnancy is not dangerous. It's suicide. It can't be done. It's not dangerous. Dangerous is like, I skydive. Ectopic pregnancy is skydiving with no parachute.
A blanket.
Yeah, because if that baby grows, you die. It's not like you could die. If the baby grows outside of the womb, it bursts in your fallopian tube and you bleed to death and die. An ectopic pregnancy is not an abortion. It's self-defense because you're dead if that baby grows. And that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about killing these children to really help the kids, help your other kids. And so that this child doesn't have to grow up and have a terrible life. It's the humane thing to do. Here's a problem, though, as I hear this. I've heard this before. As I heard this argument, I know this sounds very familiar. Killing them really because society can't take care of them. They're not going to grow up to be wanted. And it's really going to hurt the rest of the population. That sounds familiar to me, and Asher found it.
Yes, animal control.
Animal control. Now we're going to pull up animal control from where? From the Humane Society of America.
Concern.
And what does the Humane Society do to help animals? Read it.
Concern. It says here.
Read the top headline.
Yes, sir. American Humane, first to serve. All cats and dogs adopted from animal care facilities should be spayed or neutered. It says pet overpopulation encompasses two primary factors. One, allowing cats and dogs to reproduce with little chance to find homes for the offspring.
So wait a minute. So if you don't spay and neuter those cats, you know what happens? Those cats are going to have babies and there's not going to be anybody to take care of those cats. You have to kill those cats. You have to euthanize cats. You have to put cats to sleep and you have to neuter and spay them, which means cut off their reproductive ability. Mm-hmm. Why? Read it again.
With little chance to find homes for the offspring.
There's nowhere to put all of those kittens. Who's going to take care of them?
Right.
Who's going to take care of those cats? Keep going.
And two, pets being relinquished by owners who can no longer keep their animals.
Then you get the cat and then you give it up because you can't take care of the cat.
Or who no longer want them.
And you don't want the cat. This is a cat you don't want. And so what happens? You throw it out your house. It's in the street. They become alley cats. Those cats run the streets just like your kids. Your kids are alley cats. They run the streets because nobody wants them. And the Humane Society, the humane thing to do is to put those cats to sleep. Come on.
Every year, millions of cats and dogs are euthanized in our nation's animal shelters.
Read that again.
Every year, millions of cats and dogs are euthanized in our nation's animal shelters.
How many babies are aborted every year?
Over 500,000, I think.
Well, I think to date, since they started Roe v. Wade, I think it's 60 million. I think that was in the 90s, 60 million. I don't know what the number is right now.
Right?
Altogether, millions of them. Every year, millions of cats are killed. Why?
Because there are more pets than there are responsible homes.
There's not enough good parents for these cats. There's not enough good parents to raise these cats. It's too many cats. The humane thing to do is to kill them. It's really kindness. It's not murder. Listen, what type of person euthanizes a cat and spays and neuters a cat? An animal lover. You understand? And that's what you got to get in your head. If you love cats, you cut off their balls and you neuter them and you put them to sleep. Because if you let those cats live, what happens? other cats have a worse life. It's called the Humane Society, and all they do is kill cats all goddamn day.
Millions.
Right? Well, if you kill a bunch of cats, they wouldn't say you love cats. But somehow the Humane Society is the people that kill all the goddamn cats. And it's out of love. Because this is the practice. This is how you really love cats, by killing all of them, by killing millions of them every year. If you love cats, you'd be killing them, which is what the Humane Society does. What am I trying to show you here? Does anybody get the point? They treat blacks and Hispanics like we're cats and dogs. But here's the problem. We're not cats and dogs. You can't teach a cat not to have sex unless her father gives her the permission. You can't teach a cat her self-worth. You can't educate a cat. You can't make a cat wear clothes, right? You can't make a cat wear a long dress and cover herself and not dress like a whore. A cat walks around ass out, don't they? Naked. That's how they walk around. You are not an animal. The people who claim to love you, the people who claim to support women, they treat you like an animal. They treat you like a thing who can't stop having sex, who can't wear clothing, and you need to be managed like an unwanted pet population. When God said you're not an animal, you can learn. You're not an animal, so you can learn to have dignity. You can learn morality. You can change. You can educate yourself to a point that you can make a righteous decision about building your family, about the time to do it, because you're not a cat that has to be killed to make sure the population isn't too much on society. Let me show you the proof. You have the last one I need?
Yes, sir, if I may.
Go ahead.
But they did give advice on what to do to combat overpopulation.
Go ahead.
The third point is to consider all the responsibilities and consequences of pet ownership before deciding to get a pet.
That's what you do. Now, the Humane Society will do their job. The Humane Society is Planned Parenthood. They're going to kill millions of these cats every year because they love cats. And Planned Parenthood loves women. They love you. But you're not an animal.
Right.
You can choose. You can decide. You can educate yourself. You can raise yourself up. You can dignify yourself. Let me give you another study to the sister's question earlier. That's Donnie, the one with the conclusion, okay?
I got it right here, sir.
There were studies done. Now, they begin to, of course, this has been studied for 50 years, right? And abortion has been around since the Spartans. The Spartans used to kill babies that they thought were not going to make it or were not strong enough. And they would just toss them into the damn river or leave them outside or dunk them in a bucket. The Romans would do the same thing. They keep a bucket of water next to the bed and just kill babies or parent. The Romans tried to see if whether or not parents were suitable to have a children. The eugenics movement was a gigantic movement all over the world to try to sculpt breeding so that only the best people could have children. They flirted with having a license to have sex. That's a big part of where a marriage license comes from. A marriage license started in general with trying to only let people who were good breeding stock get married. You understand? A marriage license is just that. It's a license to have sex because sex is marriage. And this is a license to have sex. It started with the Romans not wanting everybody to have sex. Because if you had sex and you were slow, or if you were dumb, or if you were someone who might pass on unwanted genes, you would be denied a marriage license. A marriage license is quite literally a license to have sex, a license to procreate. And that's based on the eugenics movement, which didn't want niggers and spics and low people to populate too much, and you would be denied a license. Everyone understands. Over time, the eugenics movement began to be frowned upon. It began to be cruelly thought of. And of course, the marriage license still stuck. And of course, the treatment or the management of Black people still persists to this day. All right. So now studies were done on what if you got rid of abortion? What if you took it away, right? What would happen? They begin to ask, well, maybe if you got rid of abortion, women would become more responsible. Men would become more responsible about sex. You have that part? Go ahead and read that.
Concert. This is a Salaki, wrong one. This is Salaki, sir. This is from the International Journal of Population
I'm gonna rush
Research.
through. I gotta do a few scriptures. Do I ever had the time, Kadazar, or do I gotta end it now? Tell me something. Jeremiah, I need to do Jeremiah as fast as you can, Asher. Come on.
International Journal of Population Research. This is a research article titled Unintended Pregnancy and Abortion Access in the United States. And when we skip down past the abstract, the introduction, and go all the way to the conclusion, it states right here, it says, this finding may seem self-contradictory or paradoxical, since teen minor pregnancies are less than 6% of all pregnancies. This finding is consistent with the hypothesis that parental involvement laws cause changes in the pregnancy avoidance behavior of teen minors.
What they realized in their study is that getting rid of abortion did not stop children, young kids, from having sex before they were ready. It didn't change anything. Even if a child had no access to abortion, they still had sex too young and when they weren't ready. The only thing that worked is parental involvement, is raising them right. That's the only thing that works. You can get rid of all abortions, every abortion, make it totally illegal. These girls will swim across the Rio Grande to get an abortion in Mexico. They'll do it. They'll go travel. They're not going to have less sex because there's no access to abortion. Because they're animals. They think like animals. But you can teach them to think like humans. You can teach them something. You can raise a child to raise himself above his base and lowest state. They don't have to act like animals, but they need parents. That's what they're going to need. They're going to need parents, man. And an abortion is not a substitute for parenting. It's not. You can't change that. Nothing can change the need for good parenting. Nothing can substitute it. Everyone understands. Give me Jeremiah 30th chapter, 30 and 11.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 30, verse 11. For I am with thee, saith the Most High, to save thee, though I make a full end of all nations, whither I have scattered thee.
Let me tell you something, man. I know it can seem like with all the abortions we're having millions of years, with the violence and the drugs and the poverty that we live in, the hell that we suffer every day. I know it could seem like we'll be gone, that through abortions and gun violence, there'll be no more of us. But that is not true. You cannot end the nation of Israel. And though the Most High God make an end of all the nations, all of them are going to die one day. We're the ones getting abortions. We're the ones getting shot. And we're the only ones that are going to survive. Us. And they won't survive. Read it again.
Though I make a full end of all nations, whither I have scattered thee.
The Lord said, though I make a full end of all the nations where I have scattered you. He scattered you among the East Indians. He scattered you among the Chinese, the Japanese, among the Africans, and among our oppressor. Though he will make a full end of them. Go ahead.
Yet I will not make a full end of thee.
Yet he won't kill us all. We're going to survive abortions. We're going to survive the prison system. We're going to survive drug addiction. They're going to pass laws one day making heroin legal. It is going to happen. Cocaine is going to be legal. They see how much money they're making on weed. You don't think they realize what they can make off of heroin and cocaine? It's going to be legal. You're going to have a choice on whether or not you can do heroin or cocaine legally. And you might think that means we're going to be wiped out. They're going to be wiped out. They're going away, and we're going to survive. Continue.
But I will correct thee in measure.
I will do what?
Correct thee in measure.
What does in measure mean? Meaning he's going to kill some of us for our crimes, and we deserve it. But he's going to do it with discipline. He's not going to just wipe us out. He's going to correct us in measure so that the survivors can maintain this nation and will grow stronger, far stronger than our enemies will ever grow, because they're going away forever. Continue. What verse are you at?
Verse
Read
11,
12.
Jeff. Come on. Verse 12. For thus saith the Most High, thy bruise is incurable.
Thy what?
Bruise is incurable.
Our bruise is incurable. You see what we have? You think abortions will cure the ghetto, will cure your poverty? You think the right to an abortion will now you'll have money now, I guess, right? Because you were able to kill your children. You think your other children are going to be rich? You think you're not going to be evicted? You think you're going to college because you had an abortion? Your bruise is incurable. It can't be cured. No abortion is going to give you a better life. No, it can't be cured. Continue.
And thy wound is grievous.
And your wound is grievous. It's terrible. And all of these things that you think will help you, abortions and voting, they can't help you because your sickness is too severe. Continue.
Verse 13. There is none to plead thy cause, that thou mayest be bound up. Though, thou hast no healing medicines.
You have no healing medicine. If you think anything that our oppressor does will help your condition, you're a fool. There is nothing that can help you here. No legislation, no government power, no politician that can cure our illness. We have but one hope in this world, and that's the Lord our God. And that's the fact that the God that sits in heaven prefers us to all other people. And that is what will heal us. That is what will solve all our problems, and nothing else will. Skip down to 17.
Verse 17. I will restore health unto thee.
That's what the Most High God promised. He will restore health unto us. Keep going.
And I will heal thee of thy wounds.
Keep going.
Saith the Most High.
Keep going.
Because they call thee an outcast.
Because they what?
Call thee an outcast.
Because they did what?
Call thee an outcast.
We're all alley cats.
Call thee an outcast.
We all run the streets.
Call thee an outcast.
We are the thing that nobody wants.
Call thee an outcast.
And that's why they need abortions. Because no one, you know what an abortion is? An abortion is instead of schools, instead of housing, instead of education, instead of health care, they kill your baby. Because if not, they would have to give that baby health care and education and housing. They would have to invest in that living soul. So instead of paying so that child can have a good life and have a good start at life, it is much more humane to just kill that child. We're the outcasts. We're the thing that people throw away. Continue.
Saying, this is Zion, one no man seeketh after.
This is Zion, which no man seeketh after. No one wants us. No one wants to take care of us. No one wants to give us housing or food or school or water. No one. Because we're Zion, man. We're Zion. And that is the very thing that will save us. Keep going.
Verse 18. Thus saith the Most High, behold, I will bring again the captivity of Jacob's tents.
Skip down to 19.
Come on. Verse 19. And out of them
skip down to 20 and 21. That's it.
Verse 20. Their children also shall be as aforetime.
Read that again.
Their children also shall be as aforetime.
You don't have that number for me, Asher. I asked for earlier, the number of abortions totally. The number of abortions, I mean, when you add in the Hispanics, if you're going to Mexico to get an abortion, you can only imagine how many abortions the Mexicans are having. My God. My God. It's probably up into the hundreds of millions. You can just find it. You can Google it up. Come on. I mean, the number, come on.
Abortions worldwide this year is 14 million.
This year.
14
million. Blacks and Hispanics have 3 times the amount of abortions as white people. Go ahead. This year, 14 million. That's a lot of population control. That's a lot of dead alley cats. Continue. Read that again.
Verse 20. Their children also shall be as aforetime.
Even though that number is terrible, our children will be like aforetime. We're going to have children, brother, like it was before abortion existed. We're going to have children like it was before death, before poverty, before oppression. Our children will be like they were before, in the past. Keep going.
And their congregation shall be established before me.
And the Lord will establish our congregation in front of him, meaning he will protect us. He will make sure that we're not harmed by the people who want to destroy Zion. Continue.
And I will punish all that oppress them.
I will what?
Punish all that oppress them.
What?
Punish all that oppress them.
And the so-called white man that thought he could manage us, that thought he could oppress us, he will be the one whose life is in danger. And with that, pass the class over to the officer.
Man of Israel, Mahayaman, was Mr. Stan. Man of Israel, we're going to get one courtesy salute. Man of Israel, Mahayaman Yajimatai, which means hands down, saw face sisters. This is Mahayaman, which means to stand. Man of Israel, we're going to get one courtesy salute to the sisters. Man of Israel, Mahayaman Shabbat. Mahayaman, Barak, Yahweh Shema Allah, Taba Shem Yahshua. Yajimatai, which means hands down, class is missed.
Shalom, Adawani wa Akim. I'll see you all next Thursday.